Hi, I'm Andrew Wasson. Thanks for joining me for my weekly guitar blog. It's January 3rd, 2016. Happy New Year, everyone. And this week we're going to do a lesson on how to learn to trust your gut, how to work with your instincts and become a better guitar player. Now, this week's question was sent in from Daryl. He's out in Norfolk, Nebraska, and he wrote in with this email. I have 4 years of playing behind me, and both of your YouTube channels have been invaluable to me. Right now, I have problems with two areas. These are improvising in a very free way and playing without second guessing myself. I feel that overall, my mind is always thinking through things too much. Andrew, you play in a very relaxed way. Could you talk about this in a video? From Daryl in Norfolk, Nebraska, USA. Okay, thanks for writing in, Daryl. The way that you're feeling about your playing right now is probably one of the more common situations that musicians will go through once the basic levels of skill have been developed. Now, I've heard it called many things over the years, but one of my favorite references to this is what I once heard just referred to as tuning out the noise, really relaxing your mind and becoming much more focused. Now, what happens to us as performers is generally, pretty simple. When we're playing, we don't want to make any mistakes. And in pursuing this, we're inadvertently putting the pressure upon ourselves to play guitar, quote unquote, perfectly. Well, we're only human beings. That's kind of asking a lot of ourselves. We're not computers. We're not robots. We're not running some kind of computer program where, goes start to finish in a perfect manner. So, as you could imagine, when you better accept mistakes as just a part of this whole game here, you're going to be recovering from them in a better way because you're going to be learning to accept that that's going to be part of the whole program. So once you can do that, you can obviously, play more relaxed and then continue along in the song that you're working through. Now, what I'd like to do in this video lesson is discuss a couple of philosophies that should help you to become a better, more relaxed player, more creative player who really is relying more on trusting your instincts and, going with your gut. Okay, in getting things started here, I want to begin by getting a short melodic idea together. It's only, basically 3 bars long, it has an ending note that's on a 4th bar. It's in D minor. It's a very straightforward little statement. We're going to experiment with, first of all, committing this melodic idea to memory, and then we're going to experiment with techniques surrounding it. But the number one thing in the beginning is to really get to know what's happening with your musical parts. So here's the part. All right, now once you memorize that part, you know how to play it fairly well without looking at the page, then the next thing to do is experiment with just moving the thing around, get it, going in different locations on the neck. It's in D minor, but maybe try playing it up a whole step in E minor. Maybe if you want to try transferring it to another string, you could even also try going in unison. So, take it from one position to D minor. It's written, in the 5th position. Maybe try taking it up off of the 6th string root. And, that's another option. You could even go off the 6th string, put it into a totally different key if you wanted to. So these are just ways to really burn something into your memory, to have it become very concrete in the way you're thinking through it. You cannot go to another level musically with, something if you're not really well tuned into it. It's like that with, I guess, anything. If you're trying to do something on another level, in any, art form, let's say, you've got to have the basics together. You have to understand the mechanics of what you're dealing with. And once you're on, that sort of, plateau, you can begin going in other directions. So this is my starter melody I want you to memorize. And then once you got this thing down, we're going to move into other directions. Once you feel really comfortable with the melody line, the next move that we're going to make here is try and mess around with it just a little bit. Very subtle changes. And what I mean is just simple alterations. Expand on it a little bit, add or remove a note here or there, but really keep it closely tied into the initial part. Just use your instincts a little bit. And if you feel like a change should be made in a certain way, maybe sliding a note forward, or maybe replacing a slide with a hammer-on pull-off or something, make some small, slight, creative changes to it. Maybe it's a rhythmic feel, maybe it's technical phrasing, maybe it's a melodic contour somehow, but very simplistic ideas, very simple alterations. So what I want to do is I'm going to play this thing again, just as we had initially learned it. This is the original statement, unaltered. All right. Now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to play it again, but I'm just going to alter it a little bit in a really subtle way. As you can tell, I barely changed it at all. Couple of extra notes here, maybe leaving out a note there. I got rid of those really predominant sounding 16th note triplet ideas. Those aren't there anymore in that last version. But, just very subtle changes. Begin there. This is actually a really good way to learn how to start improvising as well. It's one of the other improvisational methods that you should be messing around with, because you're taking something that's established. It's a pre-learned lick or idea, in this case, melodic idea, and you're just kind of altering around with it. That really is still improvisation. There's a main melody line there, but you're just goofing around with it a little bit. Let's try that again. All right, so that one was getting a little bit more out there. I had that slide back and forth off that last 5th fret note into the 3rd fret, a D and a C tone idea. So that's kind of a little different idea, but still it's maintaining the thought and the feel and the direction of the original composed part. So this is a great another level to take something that you have down that's pre-composed and established, and then you're just kind of using your instincts, use your gut. If you think it should slide forward on a note, and you think you should stay on a note, double up on a note, something like that. Just use your instinct, make changes to the part, that feel right. Just go with your gut. All right, well, the final important idea here we want to move toward is really going from our creative side, and what a lot of people will just call right brain thinking, where you're totally suspending judgment calls. You're not worried in any respect to what the changes are that you're going to make or how they're going to sound. You just suspend all the overanalyzing, all the critical thought of how things possibly are going to go, and instead you just go from your gut, go with your instinct. You just trust yourself in the process, clear your mind, clear the noise, and just play. And your mind in almost 95% of the time is going to compensate amazingly. You're going to have nice rhythms, note choices. You're going to be able to choose the best feel for how things are going to move around, and your improvising is really going to get quite fantastic from this. Over time, you just begin to feel better with how your instincts can take over, how you can just really go from your gut and counter any wrong moves that you make, or maybe you can make the resolutions off of poor note choices actually work for yourself. Clear up rhythms very quickly that you're unhappy with, that you're hearing yourself do. It's really the next level of playing. Just starting to work along the neck and feel expanded across the ideas, and have a real pure form of entirely improvised thought with expanding melody lines or even rhythm parts. Now I gotta say one thing here before we really move into me messing around and having some fun with this, is that you've got to know your neck. You can't be on this real right brain creative side and not have a clue with what your basic scales are. if you don't even know your scale, or you don't know how to play an arpeggio, or you got to work on that stuff. That stuff's got to be automatic. A lot of times students will say to me, well, how do I know when I've really got a scale down, or how, when should I stop practicing scales? Well, if you can play a scale through, and it just takes no real conscious effort for yourself. I can go anywhere on the neck, I can play a scale, and I can talk to you. I can, hold a conversation with someone if I had to, because the scales are so automatic and so burned in. So there's training. It's not like you can just grab a guitar and have very little ability and just, play from your gut, man. It's like, that's just not going to happen. You need work and skill training, development. It takes many, many, many hours of, very, very, very deep practice into things, and working with a metronome, memorization, and getting skill to a good level to be able to do the kinds of things that we're discussing here on this sort of, playing from your gut thing. So I had to mention that because, I don't want people getting the wrong idea and just thinking, yeah, man, I don't need lessons and I don't need to learn scales or modes or arpeggios, because that's just, it's not the way it works. Anyway, okay, let's get back to serious stuff here. Now, once again, I'm going to play that foundational melody. So there it is once again for you. And now what I'm going to be doing is just expanding that idea. I'm going to kind of improvise with it all over the neck and just, see where things go. So I have no idea what I'm going to play, but hopefully it ends up sounding not too bad. All right, so there's a whole bunch of directions that I went there, and some of them I wasn't happy with. I tried to make some compensation sometimes when I was floating around and just really kind of getting a little bit too much on the drifting away creative side. But this is what this kind of exercise is all about. It's about compensating. You're going with very improvised creative thought, and you're trying to compensate. You're trying to pull yourself around to where that main theme is. So we have that main theme. And we're just expanding on that theme. And sometimes you're going pretty far away when you begin really drifting in your mind through that real, creative, improvised thought pattern. But, once you get too far away, you can always come back around again and begin from the start. Maybe play through the foundational melody that you have and, a little bit more true to form. And then, go back to with that whole thing of improvising and, trusting your instincts to get you to the right tones. It's a fantastic exercise. May seem a little bit overwhelming in the beginning if you have your skills at a little bit lower level of ability, but as your chops get better and better, and your knowledge of the neck improves, obviously you're going to get a lot out of an exercise like this. Well, as a musician, trusting your gut, going with your instincts, with how you're playing through lines is one of the most important things you could learn how to control. Your instincts are there to help you preserve the flow of the music that you're working through. And, how you use your mind is a big part of improvising and playing parts that are even composed. If your mind's all over the place and you're real scattered, it's really difficult to have the focus. If you're thinking about balancing your checkbook while you're trying to play that guitar solo, I don't know how good that guitar solo is going to be. By turning down the noise, by clearing your mind, becoming much more focused upon what is going on with the direction on how you're playing. In other words, your feel, how connected you are to that is really going to be what's going to help you play composed lines or improvised lines much better. Now, you're going to be able to move around the neck and react and recover from mistakes that might creep in along the way. And that is so important, whether you're, playing something that's totally composed from memory, or maybe you're improvising, or even if you're just reading sheet music off of the page. The more clear and the more relaxed that your mind is, and the more in touch you are with being able to work from your instincts and go with your gut when you think something is going off kilter, and compensate, react, and clear it up and move on, the better that you're going to be as a guitar player. The important part of all of this is basically maintaining a clear mind, staying focused, and going with your gut on how you feel that the progression or the melody or the improvised part is moving along. It's amazing when you sort of give up control to that more creative side of yourself, what it will do for your guitar playing. So anyway, I want to say thanks a lot for watching this video, as well as all of the other videos on both this channel and the other channel, Creative Guitar Studio, up here on YouTube. All the subscribers and contributors with the donations through the last while have been fantastic. They've really helped keep the channel going. It's not a huge moneymaker doing this off of the YouTube channel, but when people come forward and they give a donation, that is what really keeps me moving along here, because inevitably, equipment fails, we have computer problems. We had to replace a hard drive here in December. So, it just really helps when, you just check your email inbox and someone's given a donation to help move the lessons along on the channel. So much appreciate that, and a happy new year to everyone out there. Aside from all that, have yourself a really great week. I will continue doing this through the entire year of 2016, and I will work to make this even better as time goes on. So I will catch up with you next time. Thanks again, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye for now. I'd like to take a moment to mention another guitar video lesson project I've started. It's a unique guitar lesson approach that I'm doing online, and it's not like anything I've done before. Best of all, it's 100% free. I've called this approach Guitar Micro Lessons, and they're a great way to learn a few new licks or riffs or chord shapes each week. Now, these guitar micro lessons are quick and easy to learn from. They're very short, with each lesson running between only 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes in length. They're published to YouTube from Monday to Thursday on my other Guitar Blog Update YouTube channel, and you can either subscribe to that channel to guarantee getting each new episode, or just visit the channel whenever it's convenient for you and check out the new micro lessons in the playlist on the Guitar Blog Update channel's homepage. My Blues Guitar Styles ebook is a masterclass course covering a huge amount of information with 8, 12, and 16 bar blues progressions, classic blues styles, plus all the important chord patterns. There's over 50 pages of information, including sections on blues techniques like slide, alternate tuning, and bending. This ebook has everything the guitar player needs for a solid foundation in blues guitar, including 27 MP3 audio tracks for easy at-home study. Blues Guitar Styles is available for instant download in the View Our Products area at creativeguitarstudio.com.